Yes, na hujambo mpenzi mtazamaji popote pale ulipo, na karibu sana katika kipindi cha siku ya leo, kipindi ambacho kinaitwa Legal Tuesday, ambapo huwa tunaangazia masuala mbalimbali yanayohusiana na sheria hapa nchini. Na leo hususan tutakuwa tukiangalia mambo yanayofungamana na mambo ya mazingira, what we are calling the environmental laws, or things that go around the environment is what we shall be talking today in our Legal Tuesday. How are you? Welcome about to our program today. Na kama basi ungetaka labda kuuliza swali kuhusu mambo ya mazingira, tuko hapa kwa sababu yako, na nambari yetu ya kusema nasi hapa ni kama kawaida 23814 23814 au 0721105105 ikiwa basi ungependa kutumia mtandao wetu wa WhatsApp. Today we are having the County Director of Environment, Energy, Climate Change and Natural Resources, Madam Grace Karanja, who is together with us this morning to be able to help us to dig deep on matters of environment. Kwa hivyo tunamkaribisha katika studio, wakati ambapo pia tunakupatia nafasi utuambie what's your personal doing in conserving environment. What's your personal doing in conserving environment? Wewe mwenyewe unafanya nini kuona kwamba unasaidia katika mambo ya kuhifadhi mazingira? Kusema nasi katika swali hilo ni kutuandikia SMS katika nambari yetu ya kawaida 23814 au 0721105105. Lakini kabla kukuletea mchezo wa kuigiza kidogo tu ambao tutatupatia tu ule msingi wa ile ambao tunazungumzia leo, kwanza kabisa kama ilivyo desturi katika kipindi hiki nimkaribishe mwenzangu Mangicho Mola. Welcome to the program my brother, and how are you?
Nashukuru sana Kagi, na umeweza kutanguliza vizuri kabisa. Tunapatana tena katika juma lingine la kuweza kuangazia masuala mbalimbali yanayofungamana na sheria, ikiwa ni Legal Tuesday. Na nafikiri Kagi ni eneo nzuri sana, nafikiri ni swala muhimu tu sana, swala nyeti sana katika jamii na vile vile hata kitaifa, swala nzima la mazingira, kwa sababu tunajua kwamba mazingira yana umuhimu mkubwa sana katika maisha ya binadamu, na hivyo basi lazima tuweze kujua nini ambacho tunafanya kwa mujibu wa sheria kuweza kuhakikisha kwamba tunazingatia ya kwamba mazingira yetu yameweza kuhifadhiwa vyema. Na yule ambaye labda ni mtazamaji wetu ambaye hana ufahamu wa baadhi ya hizi sheria ambazo zinahusu mazingira, siku ya leo kuna nafasi nzuri sana ya kuweza kujua, na bila shaka mgeni wetu atakuwa anatusaidia sana. Kwa hivyo ni kipindi ambacho kitakuwa cha manufaa makubwa kwa mtazamaji wetu.
Na bila shaka Mangicho, kuna wale ambao wanadhani tu kuhifadhi mazingira tu peke yake ni masuala tu ya kupanda miti alafu umehifadhi mazingira. Lakini kila mtu mahali popote pale ulipo una kazi mingi sana, hata mimi mwenyewe, ya kuona kwamba tumeweka mazingira kwa njia ambayo ni study kabisa. Lakini kabla kukuletea mchezo wa kuigiza kwa kifupi ili tuweze kuelewa mambo haya, kwanza tumkaribishe County Director Environment, Energy, Climate Change and Natural Resources, Madam Grace Karanja. Karibu sana katika MBCI TV.
Thank you sir. Thank you for having me.
Karibu tunashukuru.
Karibu sana hapa kwetu.
Asante.
Unaendeleaje lakini?
Naendelea vyema. Nashukuru Mungu kwa kuwa hapa.
Yes. Karibu sana katika kipindi cha siku ya leo. Tunapojaribu kuona kwamba tumejadiliana, tumechanganua, tumechimbua mambo ya kuweza kuhifadhi mazingira ambayo nadhani ni muhimu sana kwa kila mtu. Karibu sana.
Asante.
Na kabla kuendelea na mazungumzo yetu, basi mpenzi mtazamaji, kuna mchezo wa kuigiza ambao tuko nao hapa, nataka utazame, alafu tukirudi tutakuwa tukichambua kwa kifupi. Tazama hii. Kwa kipindi cha asubuhi ya leo, Director County Environment, umeona mchezo wa kuigiza vile ambavyo kijana anasumbua watu katika plot.
Yes.
Sijui kwako, kulingana na hiyo skit ambayo tumeona, ni kitu gani ambacho unaweza kutuambia?
For one, according to our constitution where we drew our mandate, that is the Constitution of Kenya 2010, it is stipulated in Article 42 that each and everyone has a right to clean and healthy environment.
Yeah.
So we are talking of a healthy environment in terms of areas in water, air, whether it is noise and excessive vibration. That should be the right of every human being to coexist with each other and to provide that avenue that you can be able to do your things without any interference. So from the skit, it stipulates that there are people who are disturbing others, but we have the mandate as the county to be able to ensure that we regulate noise, because noise is one of the pollution.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this is a very common scenario in our plots.
Yes.
Whereby someone comes over on Friday, he feels that he needs just a boom music, or maybe over the weekend.
Yes.
And it seems like public are not aware of these kind of laws.
Yes.
That nobody is supposed to come and disturb your peace in terms of noise. So do you want to tell us the public are knowledgeable or what?
Yes, in the environmental space, many of maybe of our people are not aware of what they're supposed to do,
yes,
or in case of such a scenario happen. But I believe right now we are here in this forum to give us the education and the awareness that we need, the sensitization, the right to clean and healthy environment. Clean environment means you can be able to do your things without infringing on other person to enjoy their life. If you're doing something that is injurious to the life of people, like for example that kid that is crying,
yes,
because the excessive noise is too much, they cannot be able to perform on, or they are not able to sleep, they are not able to perform their activities accordingly as a sort of disturbance from outside. So whenever, for example, even you have somebody who is doing that, you have a right to report to us, and we usually use the laws that are available, like from MCA 1999,
yeah,
and then we have a regulation on the noise and excessive vibration on the same law that give us different decibel. When I say decibel, it's measurements to noise in different areas. We have parameters on noise from industrial areas, from the domestic maybe holding where people live. We have also parameters in areas of commercial and all that. So if you are making noise in the residential places that's supposed to be within the commercial area, now you are violating the law. So you have the right as a person who is aggrieved to complain, and we come in as the county who regulate and also supervise that such activities. We are able now to inform the person who is doing that, and if it goes beyond that, the legal part will take part of the day. So it is very important for each and every one of us to know there are laws that are existing, and we are there to ensure that they are complied to, and wananchi wajue si kila kitu kinafanyika tu unanyamaza. So it's good also to ensure that even wewe kenye unafanya, if it is affecting the other person, it is also affecting you. It's only that you feel that you have that liberty to do that.
Yes. Before I bring up Mangicho,
yes,
I have picked the term decibel.
Yes.
The parameters of the
noise measurements. Yes, yes, yeah.
That's a good one.
Yes.
But there is a situation whereby people are operating maybe mechanical equipment like machines, yes, within some residential areas. Maybe someone has opened a sawmill, is welding or something. Does it also fall under this category? Yes, it does fall under this category, and that's why in land use or in development control in terms of planning, we usually have designated areas for different activities. We have industrial areas, we have residential areas, we have commercial areas. But nowadays you see there is like a lot of mixed planning, where we have maybe residential areas which also host some, I would call them semi-industrial areas, and juakali as we call them. So whenever a person gets an empty space and they would like to maybe to have maybe a garage or that, they do not provide what is supposed to be done, because before you do that, you're supposed to conduct what we call an environmental impact assessment. In person, or you invite? Yes, the person who is doing, maybe wanted to develop or to have that project there, they're supposed to conduct an environmental impact assessment. With this environmental impact assessment in Alimine, it's like a way of examining what are the positive or negative impact that will come as a result of me having this business here. So when it comes to, if you have more negative more than positive, that one is not supposed to be there. So if we are able now to conduct that and do it as it's stipulated within the law, I don't think we'll be having all these issues. So to business, residential, they are not supposed to be together. And if you are to do that,
you're supposed to put very stringent measures. For example, you're supposed to do the noise arresters within that facility that you are having. We have what we call noise absorbers. So that means whatever activities are doing within your premises are not going beyond what within your premises. Yeah. So if you're not able to provide all those arresters and all those mechanisms, then you have no business being in that place.
Mangicho, my people perish for lack of knowledge. Yeah.
It is true. I think most people are ignorant about that. But Madam Grace, when it comes to enforcing such a particular regulation or such a particular law, how complex is it?
It is complex. Remember, right now, after we came up to the devolved functions, that is where we draw a mandate from the County Government Act of 2012, whereby the county were given specific functions for different sectors. For example, in the environment, noise is a devolved function. There are other functions that are devolved, like waste management and all that. But when it comes to the issue of what we are discussing now about noise, the aspect of noise control, we call it noise pollution control, is the mandate squarely on the counties. So what's supposed to be done, we have a regulation on the same that we usually enforce, and you do not just do it for the sake of doing. If somebody complains, or within our way of maybe supervising or inspecting our premises, you find there is excessive noise. You do not just say this is noise, you have parameters that you are supposed to put in place. Like, for example, we usually use a noise meter that you are supposed to measure whether they have met the conditions or not. And those that noise meter has to be calibrated. It's like it has been registered to conduct such activities. So when it's also come to add up to litigation measures, the evidence that you provide within that noise meter can be acceptable for litigation proceedings.
Very good.
So it is high time for us to know that when you are, whatever you are doing that is beyond what you can be able to absorb as a human being, it becomes a pollution to the other person. So, and I believe even in our churches also, we have been having complaints. Not only we have bars, we have areas of worship, but usually when we go there, we usually, maybe some of them are not aware of what they're supposed to do. So when, like for example, we come and inspect your facility, we usually advise you, like the way this facility is, nobody is hearing what you are talking about. Even if you are to put a very loud voice, it will only be contained within there. That's what should happen. If you are having your activities and you are they are going to emit excessive noise, you put those mechanisms in place before even operating.
Wow.
Yes.
That is awesome. Yes. Of course, maybe one of the activities that sometimes we normally see even in town and also maybe in residential areas is when we have maybe some organizations, some individuals or some companies who want maybe to advertise their products and their services.
Yes.
And probably some of them don't know maybe what they need to do even before they come with those very, very loud sounds. What is the process like?
So we have a procedure in place whereby if you need to maybe to have a road show, you are supposed to apply for that. Then when you do an application, we usually verify whatever you're going to do to not affect any other person doing their business. If it is a road show, for example, as per the decibels that are provided within the law, you're supposed to maintain that. If it is within an enclosed premises, we also advise you are supposed to do 1, 2, 3. So you usually come and, like yourself, it's Mangicho, you come and say, I would like to have this, I request for noise pollution permit. So you come, then after now you have applied, we usually give you a form where you commit yourself. And then if there are areas within that are prohibited from such noise. So there are some areas within town that are not, you cannot go there. But if there are areas that are allowed, usually for the process, you get the application form, then you are given an invoice to to pay because you're supposed to charge, usually charge 2,500 per noise permit, I would say that.
A noise permit for how?
Per noise.
Yes, you know it can go up to 1 to 7 days.
Okay.
That is the standard within the law. That is, according to our Finance Act, it stipulates that you're supposed to have 500 for application, then 2,000 for the noise emission. And with this, the noise emission is 7 days.
Oh, for a period of 7
and these 7 days, it includes only the sound system, the noise aspect. So if you're using facilities like you're using that lorry, it has to be paid for differently. So the permit only is that what goes for 2,500. So for other things like if you're using a pickup, it has different fees for the vehicle. So it depends with whatever you are using. If you're using a word of mouth, you're not going to pay.
And that also entails the time, maybe, for example, when you need.
Yeah, the time for sure. We usually do it from maybe 8 to 5. And if you needed to do it maybe at night for acacia or something like that, you're supposed to apply, then you need some attachment. Like, for example, you need the permission from the administration, that is police. You need that authority for you to conduct such activity at night. So when we are writing there, you are supposed to provide other documentation to be able to support our permit.
And then Mangicho, maybe someone is using some posters or handbills,
yes,
maybe to advertise for his activity. Does that one also find itself in your docket?
So within our sectors, we have different aspects. Like, for example, we have indoor and outdoor advertisement. For us, within that, noise comes out, it follows within environment department. But if it comes to the issues of banners and that, it is within our planning department, because they have to allocate a space where you are supposed to mount your banner. But when it's come to permit, they cannot give you that without us giving you the permit, because we are the one that coordinate where it should happen and what kind of noise do you intend to emit. Yes.
And maybe there's someone who is watching us right now,
yes,
and they are hearing these things for the first time,
yes,
and they are getting interested. Maybe what are the basic needs that a public should know regarding specifically to the noise pollution?
In fact, the basic need is noise. We call them like they are nuisance. And I would say we have good noise and bad noise. I would say bad noise is the one that is excessive, that is infringing on other people to do their own things. Like, for example, we are talking here and somebody else is playing loud music, so we cannot agree. So that one is an interference. But so long as within the limit of enclosed of what you are doing, that should not be the noise. And that's why we say noise control permit. It gives you conditions and guidelines on what you are supposed to. You should not go beyond this. If you are in this particular place, you are supposed to emit to a certain decibel. If you're in this place, you're supposed to into this. If you don't go beyond those decibels and you are within the requirement, I don't think you'll be in a position to. So for them that are hearing this for the first time, so it's not like when you are quarreling at home, you say you are making noise, I should report you to the authority. That can be a conversation, because when you are talking, word mouth cannot be noise. Or when you are in church, you are worshiping, and that noise is contained within, it's not noise. Or something that is, you know, there are people like in town whereby you go somewhere and you feel disturbed and you'd like to see what is happening. Like they have mounted their speakers and they are directing them to the others, and they are the one making noise. Everything that you are doing, so long as it's emitting noise, should be within your premises. If it is the speakers, they're supposed to face inside your premises, not outside, because the person who is in need of that, maybe I will call it sound, it's the people within that. So outside there, and that's why we are saying each one has a right to clean and healthy environment. Whatever is noise to you, to me, maybe it's not noise to somebody else who is maybe earning a living out of such events.
Right.
Yes.
And Mangicho, there's one more thing.
Yes.
The noise that comes from locomotives.
Yes.
Do you have any law that guards them, especially in our towns?
Like for the, I remember for the motorbike, there's usually motorbike they like put in an extra exhaust that usually produce a lot of
And
noise.
some owners of some
And yes,
Yeah.
that was not the way it was came from the manufacturer.
Yeah.
They usually put it on an extended luxury, I would call it like that. But we have been able to contain that. We have been able to talk with maybe the motorbike owners, the association, and we have contained that by ensuring that they do not make excessive noise. If that motorbike is made from the little noise it has, it should remain like that. Don't add anything else.
Don't interfere with
Don't
other people,
interfere with
scaring
that
them
one,
all over.
yes, scaring and also disturbing other people. So especially in an urban setup, noise and so many other pollution. We have air pollution, we have water pollution, we have pollution on land, and also this noise and excessive vibration. Like excessive vibration is whereby maybe you are constructing a road, there is another mover moving, there is blasting of stones and quarries. Those are what we call excessive vibration.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I think so far so good, especially for noise.
Yeah.
I think the other area, Kagi, that is also very important and it's affecting so many people is waste management.
Yes.
Yes.
So on the same as I said, we all of us drew our mandate from the Constitution of Kenya, Article 42. If anything to do with the environment, it comes from Article 42. So, and Kenya has been very consistent in doing that. So it had after that now, before that we had now the MCA, that is Environmental Management and Coordination Act of 1999. That was the first law specifically on environment. And within that now we have an amendment of 2015.
Right.
That means whatever things maybe were not well stipulated within that act, after review, we have now MCA 1999 read with MCA 2015. And within that MCA, it is in an act you always put like sections, and then you can always develop regulation towards a specific function. Within the act, it has all issues to do with the environment. But specifically, it has come up with regulation on waste management of 2006. Waste Management Regulation of 2006 that guides on both liquid and solid waste, because we have two categories. And with that one now, the counties themselves, we cannot over-rely on the laws from the national government.
Right.
When the counties were formed, they now become like I will call them like single entities, independent entities, whereby they're supposed to customize or come up with laws that suit their situation on the ground. So for us as a county government of Nakuru, we have a Waste Management Act of 2021 that give us an opportunity to incorporate all the issues of waste management in Nakuru County. And for now, Nakuru County is one of the counties that has been able to manage issues of waste. I would say the best in the county. You can do your research in the country for now, because we have seen waste has been a challenge. It's a very expensive venture. If you go to many counties, they have no structures. For us, we have been able to put structures in place, and we are able also to incorporate private sector in this waste sector, whereby people are earning a living out as a result of waste management. Where am I coming from? We provide, county government has provided an enabling environment through legal framework. It has also given an opportunity for people to venture through promoting circular or green economy in the waste sector. Right now, Nakuru County has 93 zones that are operated by private sector. And this one are within the whole county. That means everywhere in the county we have a service waste provider. We usually come to you, you pay them 250 maybe per month. They collect your waste, they go sort the waste, they channel the recyclable to where it's supposed to be. Then the waste that they are not able to add value from there, they can dispose it to a waste disposal site. So with that one, after that, now we've been able to create like a sector that is, I would say it's an independent sector, whereby many people are coming up. We are talking of, we have waste collectors, we have waste pickers, we have waste recyclers, and all of them have an association. Like the biggest is Nakuru County Waste Service Providers Association. We also have Waste Recovery or Waste Reclaimers Association. We also have Waste Pickers Association, and all of them come together. You know, in integrated waste management, you come from the generation to the treatment to the sorting, up to maybe recycling, and then to final disposal. And final disposal can be, what are you making out of waste? You can go from maybe the organic waste that we generate, you can generate fertilizer out of it. There are other ways that you can be able to generate maybe energy out of it. There are ways that you do other recyclable materials, like you do post, do eco-tile. So we have different sectors in that. And that one has helped us to also combat issues of climate change, whereby we are not generating much methane as we used to. Because when, like for example, according to the studies we've already done, 70% of the waste generated in Nakuru County is organic waste. That means we are an agricultural county. Where are we taking this waste? So we are encouraging other people. We have been able to support various organizations to do organic fertilizer.
Yeah. I know that one is very deep, because we want to take a short break, and also when you are coming back, we want to understand if there are laws that govern the waste site where you put where you take your waste. Whether we have laws that govern that, so that you don't take our waste from the estates and then transfer them to another areas and trouble those people who are living there. You give us details on that, as also you expound on what you are saying. And we want to take a short break. When you are coming back, we have more for you, but we are asking you, what's your personal doing in conserving environment? And today we are having Madam Grace Karanja, who is the County Director, Nakuru, Environment, Energy, Climate Change and Natural Resources. Our SMS number 23814. That is ordinary, and for WhatsApp 0721 105 105. We are taking a short breather. When we are coming back, we have more for you.
And among other things, we are passionate about environment, and we are so cautious about the climate change. We involve ourselves doing cleanups. We have projects that we do like every month to do cleanups. We do river cleanups. Like last month, we were stakeholders with the Lake Nakuru National Park to do the cleanup activities in the county. And we are also stakeholders with the Nakuru County government doing cleanups every month. And we also advise the young children, we go to schools and sensitize them on the dangers of littering.
Ni lipi wewe kuhakikisha una conserve environment?
Mi majina ni Maureen Okuni. Naishi hapa hii kaunti ya Nakuru, na kama mimi muuzaji matunda yangu, nauzia customer akikula na make sure ananipea hiyo karatasi, hiyo uchafu yangu, naenda natupa kwa dustbin. Nisichafue environment ikae chafu. Hivyo tu.
Mimi nahakikisha hata nikiona watu wanatupa takataka ovyo ovyo, lazima niwaambie watengeneze vizuri.
Na kule nyumbani?
Hata kule nyumbani unahakikisha mazingira yako inakuwa safi, at least uepukane na hata magonjwa. Hivyo tu.
Unapanda miti?
Miti mara ya mwisho nilipanda tu nyumbani, juu huku si kwetu. Nilipanda tu huko nyumbani.
Ninajua taratibu ambao tunafuata, tunataka tuweka usafi. Sasa tuweka usafi ni sisi tunajilinda kila sehemu zote. Sasa hata mimi ninapotonga miwa lazima takataka yote ikianguka chini na itoa chini na iweka hapa juu, nikijua tutaweka kwa tanki pale ni iende kuenda kupeleka huko juu. Alafu nikichongea mtu nikimwekea kwa mfuko, mimi namwambia hiyo mfuko pia naye ile anakula ile maganda na baki aingize kwa ile mfuko yake, tena naye aende aweke mahali kwa ile tangi ya takataka ipelekwe ende kuchomwa. Sasa ndio nawaambia kila mtu, namwambia hivyo ili tusaidiane kuchunga mazingira. Wanadamu hatufanani, kuna wale wanapuuza, kuna wengine hawajui, kuna wengine wanajua lakini wanapuuza, wako aina mbalimbali. Lakini kuna wale unaona wanashika vizuri, wanafuata tu zile taratibu, wanachunga mazingira kweli, wanatoa yani uchafu wanalinda. Sasa inaonekana afadhali. Kuna wengine wanaona kama hawajali.
Kulinda mazingira, lazima tuchilinde mazingira. Tutengeneze mazingira yawe clean, tupande mamiti, tusikue tunaharibu miti tu ovyo ovyo. Na tukue tunachunga hata mchanga isikue inapebwa na maji ovyo ovyo hivyo. Tuchunge hiyo mnyonyoko ya udongo. Tupande miti, tutie bidii kupanda miti hata kama ni miti 5 kwa mwaka. Hiyo ni kazi mzuri, si kukata tu. Yeah.
Wewe popote ulipo, unafanya juhudi zipi kuhifadhi mazingira, ama watu ambao wako karibu na wewe, unafanya elimu ipi kuhakikisha kwamba mazingira inaweza kuhifadhiwa? Na kuna juhudi zozote wewe binafsi umefanya kuhakikisha kwamba mazingira iko sawa?
Okay, mahali nafanya biashara huwa tunakusanya takataka mahali pamoja. Kuna vijana wa kazi, kwa vijana wanakuja wana collect hiyo takataka pande ya biashara. Pande mimi nakaa kwa ploti, sisi watu wa ploti tunakusanya takataka, tunaweka mahali pamoja, tunalipa hao vijana kwa kila nyumba tunawalipa, ndio wanakuja wanachukulia takataka wanaenda wanatupa. Tuseme nimefanya juu narudi kwa mfuko, natoa hiyo pesa ndio hiyo takataka itupwe.
Jukumu langu kwanza mimi kibinafsi ni kuzingatia usafi. Kuzingatia usafi, ukiona uweze eko chafu kila mahali, angalau place ambazo zinafaa. Hiyo ni ya kwanza. Ya pili ni upanzi wa miti. Mimi kibinafsi nimeparticipate kupanda miti. Mimi sasa naweza sema naweza jivunia hiyo.
Mazingira ni environment, ndio. Sasa si tunaangalia vitu kama hizi plastiki, hizi makaratasi zingine za kutupa takataka, tunachukua mzuri, tunaziweka mahali zinafaa kuweko. Kwa hizi nini za kanjo, alafu kuna vitu zingine kama hizi manguo chafu, hizo pia ukipata zimetupwa, mnaokota, mnapeleka, mnaweka mahali ni kupoa. Alafu kuchoma vitu ovyo ovyo pia si mzuri. So jukumu langu ni kuweka mahali kukuwe kusafi, hizo makaratasi, hizo maviatu mbaya, manguo nini, hizo tukipata tunaokota, tunaweka mahali zinafaa kuwekwa.
Okay, mimi kwa majina ni James Karioki. Kwa kulinda mazingira kuna ile kutupa litters, yani hiyo kutupa litters unapata mipango kwa kazi nimeweka pasafi, sababu sitaki mtu atupatupe, hata ikitupa takataka kuna dustbin hapo karibu. So kwa hivyo huwa usafi ni nzuri, sababu inasema cleanliness is second to God. So
kitambo tuende door to door kuwaelimisha hivyo, it was very tough. But I feel right now at least people are aware and they are conscious of their environment.
So hiyo ni kumaanisha kwamba hata Madam Director mkitembea mnaweza mkasema kumepungua kule kutupa tu kwa taka ovyo.
Kabisa, ukitembea especially in the whole county, we have put that culture whereby you educate your people and then you give them the responsibility. Like for example, each and everyone has a responsibility to take care of what they generate. And if I'm able to provide after you generate, then I have somebody who will come and collect from you. Then it's your responsibility to keep that place clean and hand over your waste.
So,
right now everybody is aware of what they're supposed to do, and it's very rare to see people littering around.
Wow. Nzuri sana kwa sababu Kagi inaonekana hapa kwamba hata kuna vitu vingine ambavyo sio lazima kwamba utilie sana sheria, inahitaji tu ile mabadiliko ya attitude na zile desturi zetu za kuweza kufanya.
Kuna moja ambayo nadhani sio kama umeshughulikia, ile ambayo unakuta watu katika plots in the estates, kule ndani ndio wanatupa takataka mahali panapostahili, lakini shida ni maji. Wamama ambao wanaosha nguo, kuosha nyumba, unakuta wengi maji hayo hawajaweka inaitwa septic tank.
Yes.
Hawajatengenezwa, kwa hivyo maji yote yanaelekezwa kwa gate. Inatoka kwa barabara, pande hii unakuta huwa yake imetoka. So unakuta barabara mzima imekuwa ni kama
Yes, as I said, that has been an issue, and that one usually happens when you are developing a plot. There's what we call a plan. When it is approved, unaulizwa nitakuwa naweka maji taka wapi, nitakuwa naweka hii uchafu mwingine wapi. So in there you're supposed to provide mechanism on how you're going to discharge your effluent discharge, that is the liquid waste, both grey water and also maybe the water from the sanitary facility. So it's not supposed to come out of your plot. But sometimes, right now, many of the houses are doing that.
Yeah.
But together with the Department of Health, that is public health, we are very vigilant to ensure that that one is contained, because it is a healthy hazard. Remember, whatever you have, maybe you have washed your clothes and then you are exposing the same to the open environment. So it has a lot of issues to do with pollution, both in land and also when it evaporates, what happens. You don't know what that water contains. When we have soaps, it contains some of the harmful issues that are not supposed to be exposed into the environment. So we have, with that, as I said, we have Nakuru County Waste Management Act of 2021, and together with the Public Health and Sanitation Act of 2017, we are able now to handle that.
Yeah.
Yes.
As we continue, nafikiri Mangicho, we want this time to tupatie our legal terminology. And then as we continue, also prepare to tell us about wale watu ambao wako na mifugo kule mitaani. Alafu mtu wako katika estate, ana ng'ombe kama 6, lakini unakuta kinyesi ya ng'ombe hana mahali ya kupeleka. Anaekea watu hapo kwa barabara. Yeah, it's very nuisance.
Na nguruwe.
Nguruwe. Kuna moja nimesikia akisema leo kuna nguruwe zimewekwa katika plot ndani.
Yes.
So wakati kunaoshwa hakukaliki. Unajua kuna wakati nguruwe pia wanaamua kupiga kelele ile halisi. So you talk about that, but this juncture to give us the legal terminology.
Very well, and on to our legal terminology for today. Of course, you know, in this particular program, we always give you legal terms so that at least you can acquaint yourself with some of the terms that are used in the legal corridors. And this is our terminology for the day: counterclaim. Okay. Counterclaim, that is our legal terminology for today. This basically means a claim made by a defendant in a civil lawsuit against the plaintiff. In essence, a counter lawsuit within a lawsuit. That is what we mean when we talk about a counterclaim. Of course, as you can see on your screen, it basically means a claim made by a defendant in a civil lawsuit against the plaintiff. In essence, it's a counter lawsuit within a lawsuit. Of course, you know, a defendant is a person that has been accused, and the plaintiff is the one that, of course, has lodged a complaint in a court of law. So that is what we call a counterclaim. So the defendant, the one who has been accused, is now again bringing out another claim now against the plaintiff, or against now the person who has actually complained in a court of law. Okay, that is what we mean when you talk about counterclaim. Kagi.
Yeah, a new terminology there.
Yes.
And I believe for those who are at home, when you hear these terminologies and when you go to court, maybe you are listening from the media, you have a clear understanding on what is happening. At this juncture, we have what we call the inside law, whereby we give you an insight on various matters. But because today we are talking about environment, today I want to educate you a little bit on the National Environment Management Authority, the NEMA, the National Environment Management Authority, that is NEMA. NEMA was established in the year 2002 with the objective of supervising and coordinating environmental activities and serving as the main national body to implement environmental policies in all sectors in the country. And I believe wherever you are, if you have come across NEMA, maybe establishing a company, organization, or institution, NEMA always come in handy. The government, through NEMA, has developed and implemented a host of robust guidelines, standards, and permits. Number one, regarding to the waste reduction, what you have just spoken about, the waste management, and also the issue of recycling is also here, and sustainable resource management is another issue that need to be dealt with when it comes to the NEMA. The other one is that there are some major core values regarding to NEMA. Number one is the coordinating the various environmental management activities being undertaken by the lead agencies. The other one is to take stock of the natural resources in Kenya and their utilization and conservation. As we continue, the other functions of NEMA, which you are very much aware of, is to establish and review land use guidelines. For example, if you want to start a project on any land, you have to have clearance from the NEMA on how you're going to use that land, how you're going to conserve environment, and how you're going to manage your waste, as you have been told this morning. The other one is to examine land use patterns to determine their impact on the quality and quantity of natural resources, whereby when you're dealing with natural resources, you have to establish how you are going to take care of the natural resources. Now, NEMA has a very clear mandate as a legal advisor in terms of environment to the government. The first one is that NEMA advised the government on legislative and other measures for the management of environment. The other one, it advised the government on regional and international conventions. For example, if there are some agreements between the country and other international organizations regarding to environment, they have an obligation of advising government on international convention or agreements, treaties, and agreements to which Kenya should be a party. The other one, to mobilize and monitor the use of financial and human resource for the environmental management, whereby if the government wants to use some money for environmental management, it must be guided on how to use the money by NEMA. The other one, as I come close, is that to prepare and issue an annual report on the state of environment in Kenya. NEMA must always provide after every year on how we are faring in terms of conserving our environment. And maybe the last one, to render advice and technical support where possible to entities engaged in natural resources management and environmental protection. And that is it on the National Environment Management Authority, NEMA.
Absolutely awesome there, Kagi. Thank you so much for very, very enlightening information there about NEMA, or National Environment Management Authority.
Yes.
And of course, even helping us to understand some of the roles that, of course, they are undertaking in relation maybe or in terms or pertaining to matters environment, and actually their contribution as far as safeguarding environment is concerned. And I think it's very, very important. It's very, very awesome for our viewer to be in a position to understand the same. And I don't know, Madam, even as we continue with this particular with this particular conversation, how is the Environment Office? How do you coordinate some of these functions with the National Environment Management Authority? Or do we have functions for NEMA and also now functions for the Environment Department in the county?
Yes, NEMA is within the national government.
Okay.
So it is under the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry. And for us, we are within the county. So we have specific different functions with NEMA, but we usually collaborate. Like, for example, when we need an advice, like what he said, it usually coordinate all environmental matters. So the status of environment, we have a committee called County Environment Committee, whereby it is a combination of both County Government of Nakuru, NEMA. NEMA acts as the secretary to that committee. now the county director within the county, and then the CEC, that is the county executive committee member for environment at the county, is the chair. Oh. So that's where we come together, and we usually liaise on daily basis. Like, for example, anything to do with if it is a pollution issue, some people may report to environment, others report to us. So there's a way we always collaborate. If it is an issue, for example, of noise, people used to know that noise pollution is taken care by NEMA. Whenever they go there, they are advised you're supposed to go to environment department, and we come together in ensuring that each and everything that is according to what the law says, and we guide the community or the people according to what they are supposed to do on matters environment, conservation, and everything. So we have a very close relationship because no one can work in isolation.
So there are some functions that were purely under the NEMA before, which are currently devolved or maybe transferred to the county environment.
And one of them is noise and that regulation of noise and excessive vibration. It used to be a NEMA
function.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that is also.
Yeah.
Wow, that is great.
As we continue, there's someone who is asking, I don't know why you know this place, that you need to check on the Kawangware. There's an illegal dump site there. Maybe you can follow up and know where it is.
Okay, Kawangware.
Yeah. They're calling it Kawangware Muslim.
Nakuru Town West. Okay. What is the dump site on? Maybe construction material or waste?
The guy is saying, if I may read it, here, how can you help us here in Kawangware Muslim? This illegal dump site will kill us.
Sorry for that. And you can always launch a complaint to our office. We also have an environment officer within Nakuru Town West. And our offices are at KFA roundabout, just opposite KFA. You will find us there and you will be assisted accordingly.
Also, you have a format for maybe lodging a complaint there.
You can come, you can just bump in, you come and we assist you there and there.
Beautiful.
So do know that.
Some of the common barriers to implementing waste diversion programs.
Okay, thank you. From people, like for example, when you want to implement that, like whereby maybe before the de facto local authority used maybe to collect waste with no fee. Right now, you are coming, you are bringing service providers, they have to charge you too as a recipient of that service. So the resistance to pay or to change from one point to another has been a challenge. And other issues, some of them may be inadequate resources. Of course, resources are not enough, and that's why we keep on resource mobilizing both internally and outside, and that's why we have incorporated private sector to make it even easier. You bring more on board so that we can be able to offer quality services to our people. So most of, I would say, maybe ignorant for our people, inadequate resources, and to some extent behavior change has not. The attitude of the people. This is the work of the county. They should be doing it for free. Even if I dump, they have employed people whom we are paying with our tax. They are supposed to come. So people not taking responsibility as individuals has been a challenge. But right now, I can see people are changing day by day.
There was a question on those guys who are maybe working with domestic animals and birds within the estates, which has become a thorn in the flesh to many people. How would you say about this?
That one we term it as a nuisance. And we also have legal framework. Now that one falls within the docket of livestock and agriculture. That is also within the county. And when it becomes a nuisance now, the public health and environment come in. whereby there's not support. Whatever, as I said from the beginning, whatever you are doing should not infringe on each other's person to enjoy a conducive environment. So if whatever activity you are doing within that area that is infringing on my right to a healthy environment, I have the right to complain. And if I complain and, for example, nothing is happening, I can sue you as an individual. But we have authority, we are supposed to do that. So if you complain to us, of course we'll be able to enforce and even educate that person who is maybe stalking animals within the residential area, causing nuisance and all that. It's also a health hazard. For example, if that the litter or waste emanating from such activities is thrown away and then it rains, that storm, when we have heavy downpour, that water goes into our water body. It contaminates everything. So it's a matter of us containing it even before it starts. But for them that are existing, it's either you put up to the standards or you quit. I will not use that word. You quit or you take it to where it's supposed to, at least it's ideal for you to conduct such activities.
Mangicho, there was an issue of before something else?
Yes.
Before you go to the...
I think nilikuwa nataka pia Madam Director aweze kuzungumzia baadhi ya viwanda ambavyo tuko navyo. Ni sheria gani ambazo zinadhibiti wao kuweza kuangazia sana kazi ambazo wanafanya katika hivyo viwanda na labda uchafu ambao unatoka pale?
Okay, as I said, through NEMA, sorry, we have NEMA stipulate we have water quality regulation, whereby if you are an industry and you are maybe you are processing things, whatever you generate as a result of waste, it has to be tested whether it meets the standards before you discharge it into maybe a proper disposal. So they usually do an environmental impact assessment. That the initial aspect, as I said, it's a comprehensive study that gives both positive and negative aspect of whatever activities that you intend to do, whether it will have an adverse effect into the environment, the people, and the public at large, or it will have maybe positive impact that will be able now to maybe help people do something like that. But if it is maybe an industry, of course you expect the generation of waste, both liquid and solid. So you should give as to how you are going to manage that waste sustainably. For one, with the effluent discharge, that's what we call maybe the wastewater. They usually do a water quality on maybe on a quarterly basis, and that's why after the environmental impact assessment, you do not stop there. You usually do an environmental audit, maybe on quarterly basis or on yearly basis, to ensure that the environmental management plans you stipulated within your EIA has been conducted. So the audit act is a checklist. Whatever you discussed and you said you will do, are you doing it? If it is effluent discharge, the parameters, do they meet for it to be discharged into the where the disposal is supposed to be? Or if you are emitting maybe smoke or noise, have you contained that? So those are the aspects. So in the environmental management plan, it gives the impact and how you are going to mitigate such impact, the time frame, and then the responsible person to do that. So whenever I come to your facility, I usually ask you for the environmental impact assessment or the audit at that level. Then within that management plan, I can be able to checklist what you've been able to do and what you have not done. Yes.
So
yes, also NEMA come in handy because they usually also supervise and monitor all those progress, because when you do your the water quality or the effluent discharge sampling, you are supposed to send them to government laboratories for them to be authentic that it's not you who have just done it. You can do it within maybe them that accredited, but those accredited has to be within the the framework of the law, whereby this one is accredited to conduct such activities. So whenever I come and I see that certification, I can always know that you've done what is supposed to be done.
All right.
Yes.
Mangicho, before you go to the change of environment, there's one issue that we need to look at. Yes, we have done very well in terms of managing our waste, from especially in our estates, whereby people come and collect them. But do we have laws that govern our waste dump sites?
So when you talk of a law that governs, we cannot have a specific law on it usually called an integrated sustainable waste management. So right now, as I said, we have a county government of Nakuru Waste Management Act of 2021. It gives you the guidelines on how you are supposed to manage waste from the generation after the final disposal. And final disposal, some of them at the end of it all, it can be that you're calling waste disposal or dump site. We call them waste disposal site. So scientifically, or the way I can, as an environmentalist, how I can see, we have not reached to a level where we have sanitary landfill. But right now, it's not the ideal thing to have as a country. We should be able to recover as much waste as possible to ensure we promote the circular and green economy. Why do I say that? We do not have, if we say we have a sanitary or an engineered landfill, how are you going to manage it? After 10 years or 20 years to come, you still have to need more land to do that. And you cannot be able to have that land all through, because people are not ready to give out their section of land. Maybe if they hear now you want to bring maybe waste disposal within their facility, they say, no, I cannot have waste within my backyard. So because the picture they have been able to associate them with before is waste dumped in the open, nobody is taking care of them. So even if you are bringing that scenario of now the current way of sustainable waste management, before they get to understand you are not bringing a dump site into there, you are bringing maybe a waste recovery facility, it could take a lot of time. So educate them on that waste stream management, whereby if it for recyclable, it should not go to the dump site. If you can be able to utilize, reuse that waste, you should not take it to the dump site. You can get wealth out of that waste. You can employ it individually. And that's why we are now encouraging people to sort waste at source. Because within your premises, maybe you have a small garden, the organic waste that usually to mix with the other waste, it will no longer be as smelly like we are talking about. You just make your own compost, you make your organic vegetables at home. That means you are saving that corn for something else. So if it is recyclable, you can always hand it over to other recyclable material at a fee. That means you are also getting money out of it. Right. So in Nakuru, we do not say that we are managing. To us, waste is wealth. In Nakuru County, as we talk, waste is wealth, because it has created employment, green, I will say green jobs for so many people within Nakuru, both youth, women, CBOs, people with disability and all that, because within the people we have engaged, we have incorporated all those aspects. So I would say waste, our disposal site, like for example, our main disposal site, it's no longer the way it used to be. Right now we have been able to facelift it. We provide a greenery for carbon sink. Remember that place generates a lot of methane after, because of degradation of the waste, combined waste that is there. So it usually generates a lot of greenhouse, one of them being methane. So for us to trap that or to sequester that, we have been able to provide a greenery, and that's what we call rehabilitation of our existing waste disposal site. And then the future plan, through the leadership of our governor, we have been able to procure a 25-acre piece of land in Gilgil, of which we intend to do a material or a waste recovery facility. That means our Gioto, as we call it, or any other dump site that we call it, we are going to rehabilitate it to make it a park, because all the waste that is there and what we'll be generating will be channeled to that waste recovery facility for value addition.
That's nice.
Yes.
Yeah, because I was almost asked that question.
Yes.
But you have just answered.
Yes.
That is awesome. And I think, Aggie, even as we continue, because and that is with the interviews that was done by our reporters, we had a few people also commenting about planting of trees.
Yeah.
And I know this is something that the current government has been very vocal about. Maybe Madam Director can also help us in relation to matters to do with climate change.
Yes.
Tukisikia sahizi vile ambavyo hali ya hewa iko, unaona mabadiliko kubwa sana. And do you also have this issue of climate change incorporated in terms of also the legal framework to enforce the same?
Thank you very much. I'll give an overview. In each and every sector, like the sector that we are in, we have put legal framework. Like I said, I give an overview. We have Waste Management Act of 2021. We have Climate Change Act of 2021. We have Climate Change, we have Nakuru County Climate Change Action Plan 2023 to 2027. We also have a Sustainable Energy Access and Climate Action Plan of 2023 to 2027. We have Energy Plan. So all of those are geared towards ensuring that we have a wholesome and sustainable environment. Because you cannot talk of environment and you're not talking about climate change. Neither can you talk of climate change and you're not talking about. Yes. So you have to provide legal framework to guide that. So on areas of climate change, we have also legal framework in place. And within that action plan, as I have said, we have been able to develop some areas. In issues of pollution control, we have an adaptation plan. Adaptation plan is whereby we are trying to encourage our people to adapt to already existing effects of climate change by coming up with maybe, for example, if you are a farmer, you are used to do this farming, it's no longer working, you shift to something else. And by shifting to something else, we are providing alternative. Like for example, you can go to in areas of climate smart agriculture, whereby you harvest your water, you do not rely again on the rain-fed agriculture. You create on processes after now harvesting, what next? You reduce the effect of post-harvesting losses. So those are the issues that we are talking about. In mitigation now, the things that you can be able to do to avoid such scenarios from happening, we have a plan on the same, and we are educating our people towards that. We also have a resilience, I would call it a resilience plan, whereby already things are then what next? Even if I can be pulled like a bladder the way you usually pull it and it's come back. That's how we want our people to be. Yes, climate change is here with us, then how can I coexist within it? You provide a platform within that climate, I would say negative effect, you can be able to get opportunities out of that. What am I saying? You don't need to over-rely on the forest produce for you to get energy. You can be able to generate within your own. If you are keeping animals, that is biogas. You're supposed to harness that. That means you'll not be going to the shop or to the petrol station to buy gas. You're also not going to the forest to cut trees. So in your own way, you can generate maybe high-value trees like mango trees, avocado. That means that tree will not be seeing it as a way of maybe generating fuel. It will be another alternative of giving me food. You can also put beehives within the same tree. So you'll be harvesting fruits, you harvest the honey, and at the same time you can be able also to, it will be like a carbon sink within your premises. Right. So you have money in the pocket, you have improved your livelihood, your environment is clean, and then the cows that generate now, the fertilizer that is generated from both the energy from biogas and other fertilizer, you can utilize it within your own farm. So you're no longer going to kupanga ile laini watu wanasema ya ile subsidized fertilizer. And you are assured of a good health. You will no longer be going to hospital as just maybe of food poisoning in terms of hizo aflatoxin na vitu kama hizo, because you have already grown your crops organically, umezistore vizuri, you have preserved them well. In fact, your household is now secure for anything else.
Right.
So you are talking of when you improve the livelihood of the people in areas of climate change, you are from their own self up to the generations to come. So you're taking care of and ensure they are well sustained. So within the climate change space, as you have asked whether we have been able to integrate those aspects within our CIDP, that is County Integrated Development Plan, to ensure all the actions that we have been able to stipulate within our action plan on climate change are being implemented as we continue. In agriculture, we have a component on climate smart agriculture. In health, we also have other aspects of maybe tree growing and things like maybe installation of solar power instead of relying on the normal grid, that is electricity, which is costly. So sometimes you are not able to pay that. That means you are assured of that hospital, that even if you put medicine there, that nobody will come and say there's no stima, siwezi fanyiwa hivi. So every time you ensure that you have such. So with that one, we have been able to ensure that each and every, we have climate champions in all those sectors, and those sectors are to ensure they fast track the climate actions within their sector. So with that one has helped us to be able to mainstream all those aspects within. Then the same act stipulates that we should have locally led climate actions. And we have been able to come up with 55 World Climate Change Committees. Remember, Nakuru is very fast. We have 55 wards and 11 sub-counties. So in every ward, we have County Climate Change Planning Committee, taking care of environment and climate change use at that level. They are the communities that will identify the risk and vulnerabilities within their sector. They are the one who identify maybe the pressing issues on climate change. Then they can develop a proposal on that, and then the county funds those projects.
Okay.
Yes.
So that means that every county has an obligation to develop its own legal framework on managing the environment.
Yes.
And maybe, I know this is your docket, just by the way, do you believe that the excessive heat wave that we are experiencing today is a result of environmental change or climate change?
Yes, it is. Yes, you cannot run away from there. Remember, climate change are not just an effect of natural, it's not just man-made or human-induced phenomenon. It also has to do with natural effects. So whatever we are experiencing is a result of mix of us doing things that we are not supposed to do, and also on the way maybe the earth was created naturally, the heat is there. But for us, because we know what we have not done right, we have an opportunity to change that narrative and to ensure that we take care. People usually say that we should plant as many trees as possible to the impact of climate change. Yes, it's one of the actions that we are supposed to do, growing of many trees. But the small things that you do at your home can be also as a result of carbon sinking. Like, for example, you have just a small home with little space. You can forest that place, not necessarily with the forest. You can be able to put greeneries, you can be able to do vertical gardening. The one that usually it's a flower, but it climbs up to it, covers the wall. That is a small thing, can be able to reduce what we call urban heat island effect. Like what we are experiencing down in town. When you go to areas like Njoro, when we have rural setup, it's not as hot as here. Why is it hot in the urban setup? Because we've been able to bring up concrete in terms of buildings. We have removed all the tree cover, that all the roads are carpeted, no space. No space for any greenery to carbon 6. And that's what brings what we call now the urban heat island, because the heat is so much, the concrete, they retain heat. and to get it out, it's something else. So if you incorporate all that together with the vegetation and everything that we are supposed to do, like right now I can see a lot of lighting in this room. I know you can do an alternative of the same. So the changing the mindset on the small things that we do can be able to have a ripple effect, whether positive or negative, into where we are going. So it starts from me, the way I'm utilizing the resources that I have. We have been able to, like, we have a lake here. It also acts as a carbon sink. But to us, we see as an area of getting all the water from the stormwater drain, taking it. So it's not doing its ecological work perfectly, because you are hindering it from other external issues.
Okay.
So I believe that we all have a stake to take. And remember, when you do something small, the other one does something small, it all boils up to us being in a conducive environment. So,
yeah. And we are nearing to the close of the program, but before we do that, we have a section that we call the profile, whereby we sample some of the prominent personalities in legal profession, and the right person to do that is Mangicho Mola.
Very good, and of course we have a legal profile for today, and today we'll be focusing on this gentleman by the name Hon Justice Professor Joel Ngugi. Hon Justice Professor Joel Ngugi, just a few remarks about him. That is, in September 2011, he was appointed judge of the High Court, and then come June 2012, he was appointed by Chief Justice to head Judicial Transformation Secretariat, responsible for implementing Judiciary Transformation Framework. That is between 2012 and 2016. It should be 2016 there. Then January 2013, he was appointed by the Chief Justice as Director, Judiciary Training Institute. Then come 2004, Professor Joel Ngugi taught law at the University of Washington, Seattle, Washington. That was in the year 2004. He previously practiced law with the Boston law firm of Foley Hoag as a corporation and litigation associate. And Justice Professor Joel Ngugi has also worked with the United Nations mission in Kosovo. And in 1996, he obtained a bachelor laws degree from the University of Nairobi before moving to Kenya School of Law. Then in 1999, obtained a Masters of Law from Harvard University. Yes, I think those are some of the highlights that we can pick from Justice Professor Joel Ngugi Kagi, quite a man there, and of course very well learned, especially in matters to do with legal issues.
Yeah, you can identify from what you have presented that he has really amassed a lot of wealth of experience in the legal profession from many legal organizations globally. Sure. You see, even he has worked with the UN mission. And one of the things I have not seen highlighted there, which is very key, is the judge, one of the judges who brought down the most hyped, controversial, the BBI.
Okay. The infamous BBI.
Yes, he's one of, there were 3 judges. He was one of them who really gave the ruling on the collapse of the BBI. That is where most of the guys came to know him.
Yes.
But even before that, he has been very instrumental in making some judgment on prominent litigations in the country.
Sure, that's very true. And of course, he also served here in Nakuru. For quite a long time. So that is our legal profile for today, focusing on Justice Professor Joel Ngugi. And maybe Kagi, just before we finish, I think Madam Director had also talked about that. We are going to have International Day of the Forest coming, I think, on Thursday. Maybe you can give us a brief highlight. What are we going to expect? And by the way, so how far are we in terms of planting trees in Nakuru County?
I like that. Okay, I'll start by how far are we in growing trees in Nakuru County. Right now, as you can see, we're experiencing a lot of harsh climatic condition, if I say that. So we are waiting for the rains to come.
Okay.
So we do not just grow massive trees because we want their growth. But the progress is still on various areas where we have been able to receive some rains. So it is a plan that throughout the year we should be growing trees in Nakuru County. So we have not stopped.
It is welcome to even those who are not from Nakuru. Someone said that they don't come from these counties, they cannot plant trees.
So serving now is Nakuru, and whatever plant you grow today in Nakuru, it will also serve you best in wherever you go. Okay. Remember when we conserve Nakuru, Marsabit also feel the same thing. If we destroy here, there are people who are dependent on Nakuru. When you destroy it, it will also be felt elsewhere. So when you conserve, the same thing happen to other areas.
And the same trees that you are planting? The measures being taken not to destroy them?
Yes. Because I know there are people who usually keep on destroying what we do, but we are praying also for them to get to understand environment is godly, because even us, we are created in God's image, and we are given that opportunity by God to take care of environment. So whenever you are destroying the nature, you are destroying yourself. So it's also good to take care of each and every aspect of life, which is environment.
Yes, what's the clarion call for the International Day of Forest?
Yes, to go back there. International Day of Forest is usually celebrated on March 21st. And with that one, right now, in Nakuru, it will be celebrated nationally elsewhere, not in Nakuru County. But also when we have those calendars within the year, where it falls on issues of environment, as a county we take an initiative to ensure we also celebrate and also take that opportunity to get the good news of environmental conservation to our people. So to us, we have been able to plan together with the stakeholders, and we'll be celebrating that day along River Njoro. We will have a very unique way, and I'm inviting all of us here to put that gear walking 5 kilometers along Njoro River, because we are calling it as a water journey. We want to see or to look at the issues that are happening within that catchment. That is from the mouth of Mau there, all the way downstream to Lake Nakuru. Because we usually have a privilege of having part of our lake being fed by River Njoro. So River Njoro, riparian erosion, there has been a lot of overexploitation of water resources within there. So, and we feel that we need to take this opportunity to educate our people, and also to have an advocacy that we need to save our river, because it's very key to us. So we'll be having an activity on 21st whereby people will be walking for around 13 kilometers from the mouth of that river up to the downstream, that is Lake Nakuru. We'll be having a section near Barut there. We'll be able to grow some trees along the riparian area. And then around Lake Nakuru, we are going to have a cleanup activities. So all are welcome. It will be fun to walk for this water, and it will be a good opportunity to amplify that voice of, I would call it climate justice or water justice for our rivers. We want to restore the degraded heritage of our rivers and other water ecosystem.
Right, and I can see that our time is far much gone. Maybe in 30 seconds, you can give your counsel on environmental conservation. Just 30 seconds.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad to be here today, and as an environmentalist and as a passionate climate expert, I would like to encourage each and one of us. We have a role to play, that environment is us and we are environment. So if we take care of it, it will take good care of us as well. And we are not doing it for us, we are doing it even for the future generation. So we have a responsibility. We have the zeal, we have the energy, we can make it, to make it a better place for us and future generation. Thank you.
And we feel very much honored for having you today and for your heavy and rich presentation on terms of environment. Hours on this program. We want to wish you and MBCI at large all success endeavors in guiding in the terms of environmental conservation. Yes, with that we come to the end of our program today, the Legal Tuesday. On behalf of the entire team, my name is Paul Kagi. I'm wishing you a very bright day ahead.
Of course, we appreciate so much for being together with us. Make sure you catch up with us again tomorrow for Leadership Wednesday. My name is Mangi Chomola. Enjoy the rest of your viewing.